Уважаемые дамы и господа,
Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, I heartily welcome you here at the Kremlin at the ceremony of presentation of foreign ambassadors' letters of credence. You are tasked with an honorable and at the same time responsible mission to work towards the development of relationships between your countries and Russia to help revitalize political dialogue to broaden economic and humanitarian ties between our countries. Now, more than ever, we need active and creative diplomacy which employs words, negotiations and compromises in order to make a constructive contribution into tackling of current complexities in international affairs and into the quest of responses to new challenges and threats. Russia is committed to peaceful, loving policies. We are consistently pursuing responsible and independent foreign policy strategy. As a permanent member of the Security Council, we defend the basic principles enshrined in the UN Charter. That is, sovereign equality of states and non-interference into their internal affairs. And we strongly disagree with those who, in disrespect of international law, resort to politically motivated sanctions, protectionist measures and dictatorship of force. Russia's active participation in global affairs, our openness to partnership and mutually beneficial relationships with all the countries and regional organizations are in line with our key national interests. That is, ensuring the best possible conditions for dynamic development, for resolving large-scale social and economic challenges and for boosting the quality of life for the citizens of Russia. Our citizens want to live in peace and see Russia as a strong, independent state. We seek to do everything in our power in order to strengthen global stability, to build a system of equal and indivisible security. Undoubtedly, one of the main priorities for us is uncompromising fight against international terrorism. It is exactly these principled approaches that lie at the heart of Russia's actions to resolve the most acute regional conflicts, including the Syrian crisis. And in Syria, with the leading role of Russia, we managed to deal a devastating blow to international terrorism while safeguarding Syria's statehood. On the basis of the outcomes of the Syrian National Dialogue Congress in Sochi and the Resolution 2254 of the Security Council, we have laid the groundwork to reinvigorate peaceful negotiations. And together with our partners in the Astana process, we are energetically working towards the formation of the Intra-Syrian Constitutional Committee. The agenda includes restoration of devastated economy, infrastructure, the return of millions of refugees, which would allow to lower the migration burden on many European countries. We believe that helping Syrians in resolving this issue would be a joint task of the international community, an important area of cooperation between all the stakeholders. And primarily we need to focus on humanitarian issues. Today, present here, we have the heads of 23 diplomatic missions. As tradition goes, I would like to share a brief assessment of the relationships with which of the countries you present. Venezuela. We sincerely wish the leadership of the country to our friends in Venezuela, the people of Venezuela, every success in stabilizing the social and economic situation. We are ready to provide our utmost support in resolving this task, and of course we will develop our bilateral political dialogue, implement joint projects in energy, industry and in other areas. We are open for deepening our mutually beneficial ties with Tanzania, in particular in nuclear energy and military and technical cooperation. We welcome the efforts undertaken by the Tanzanian government aimed at maintaining peace and security on the African continent. Also progressively developing is our cooperation with Thailand. Our diplomatic relationships go back more than 100 years. We will continue to support close political contacts between our countries, as well as to ramp up cooperation in economics and technologies, and encourage humanitarian, educational and tourist exchanges. We want to actively cooperate with Guatemala. Taking into consideration that it is the largest economy in Central America, we have all the opportunities in place to broaden bilateral trade and investment ties. We will continue to provide our utmost support in training and advanced training of the national staff of Guatemala, including for the law enforcement and security bodies. This year marks 120 years since the establishment of diplomatic relationships with Bolivia. In June, we had very robust negotiations in Moscow with President Morales, and Russian companies are implementing major fuel and energy projects in Bolivia. And next year, we plan to launch the Bolivian Center for Nuclear Research and Technologies. There are prerequisites in place for the development of cooperation in military and technical, mining and educational areas. We hope to continue our dialogue with the leadership of the Czech Republic in the pragmatic and business-like manner. Our bilateral agenda includes the implementation of mutually beneficial projects in such priority areas as machine building, energy, including nuclear energy, agriculture, health. All these questions are the purview of the Russian-Czech Intergovernmental Commission, the next meeting of which is set to take place in Prague next month. We support the swiftest possible resolution of the internal conflict in South Sudan. We support the relevant efforts of the mediators, regional organizations, and the international community as a whole. We are ready to constructively cooperate with our neighbor, Estonia, on the basis of respect and while taking into account each other's interests. Estonia is a home to many of our compatriots, and we believe that the singular European standards with regards to human rights would fully apply to them. Our relationships with Bulgaria are based on the traditions of friendship and the spiritual closeness between our peoples. This year, we mark 140 years of the liberation of Bulgaria from the Ottoman rule. In May, we hosted the President Rumen Radev and Prime Minister Boyko Borisov. The negotiations between us confirmed our mutual desire to further deepen our bilateral trade and economic cooperation, including our cooperation in the area of energy. Back in the day, unfortunately, we did not manage to implement the South Stream projects, but now we have new opportunities in place so that Bulgaria would play a major role in the transit of Russian gas to the European markets. Our official ties with the Kingdom of Denmark go back 525 years. Safeguarding the historic traditions of good neighborliness, as well as the development of mutually beneficial bilateral contacts, is, of course, in line with the crucial interests of the people of Dania and Russia. We need to jointly implement projects which yield economic benefits and strengthen the energy security of Europe as a whole, as well as to work on environmental issues, the exploration of the Arctic and the continental shelf in the Arctic Ocean. Russia supports traditionally friendly relationships with Sri Lanka. We want to cooperate more closely in trade and economics, including in fisheries, agriculture, and tourism. I would like to highlight that in September of this year, we've signed the bilateral intergovernmental agreement on military cooperation. The relationships between Russia and Malta are of constructive and mutually beneficial nature. We see good opportunities to develop our cooperation in trade, economics, and humanitarian areas by joining efforts. Russia and Hungary have accumulated a considerable potential for cooperation. Political dialogue is in place. We're implementing promising economic projects, including in the area of nuclear energy. The Russian-Hungarian Intergovernmental Commission is functioning efficiently, and until the end of this year, we will see the inaugural session of the Commission on Regional Cooperation. Over the course of the recent negotiations with the Prime Minister Viktor Orban, we have set out the specific plans to further develop our relationships in the number of areas. Slovenia is our constructive partner with whom we have established multifaceted cooperation. We are ready to work with the new government formed in September to further boost our cooperation. We are grateful for the careful attention to the burial sites of our warriors who died in Slovenia during the First and the Second World Wars. Our relationships with India are characterized by a special and privileged strategic partnership. This has been confirmed by my visit to New Delhi last week. The outcome of the visit was that we reached important agreements which span across economy, nuclear energy, military and technical cooperation, space, cultural ties, and communications. Considering that we hold similar views on key global and regional issues, we will continue to closely cooperate with our Indian partners on the relevant issues of global agenda, including within the format of international organizations such as BRICS and the G20. I highly value our very useful dialogue with the Prime Minister of India, and I would like to ask you, Your Excellency Ambassador, to convey once again to Narendra Modi my sincere gratitude for their hospitality. We support the development of productive cooperation with our neighbor, Norway. Next year, we will mark 75 years since the liberation of the north of Norway from Nazis by the Soviet forces. Considering the vast experience of friendly relationships between us, we can move forward and broaden the horizons of cooperation. Russian and Norway business circles have joint interests to carry out joint projects in energy, fisheries, shipbuilding, and in many other areas. Uzbekistan is a strategic partner and ally of Russia. Bilateral ties between our countries are deepening in all of the key areas: political, trade and economics, military and technical, humanitarian and cultural exchanges. I believe that over the course of the state visit into Tashkent, scheduled for next week, me and the President Shavkat Mirziyoyev will have robust negotiations, and the outcome of this negotiation would be a solid package of joint intergovernmental and commercial documents. Together with the leader of Uzbekistan, we will take part in the inauguration session of the Forum for Interregional Cooperation, and we will launch the construction by the Rosatom of the first nuclear power plant in Uzbekistan. We also assign special significance to the further development of relationships with Spain. Our peoples are joined by feelings of mutual affection and respect, and the official intergovernmental contacts go back more than 350 years. Together, we have implemented a number of humanitarian projects across years of language and literature, as well as of tourism. We also want to hold a year of education and science, and everything is in place for us to develop our bilateral cooperation in other areas as well. We want to broaden our friendly ties with the Republic of Togo. We have some sound prospects to cooperate in geological exploration and military and technical areas. We will continue to help educating national staff for Togo. We are also supporting constructive cooperation with the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Russian companies want to implement a number of joint projects in various areas, including geology and subsurface exploration, as well as supplies of agricultural products. We see good opportunities for deepening our cooperation with Palau when it comes to air and sea navigation and tourism. This would be further boosted by the agreement signed in September on the mutual visa-free regime. In the context of further development of the friendly relationships with the Kingdom of Lesotho, we will pay attention to the implementation of joint projects, including projects on mineral extraction, while attracting Russian technologies and investment. We are satisfied by the level of coordination when it comes to resolving the issues on the global and African agenda. Official intergovernmental ties between Russia and San Marino were established 25 years ago. Over this span, we have accumulated great experience of mutual cooperation, which we will hope will be only developing and will be enriched by new projects. Dear friends, dear colleagues, Russia assigns special significance to its relationships with each of the countries which you represent here today. We sincerely want your activities here to be fruitful. You can rest assured that all the useful initiatives presented by you will be supported by the Russian leaders, by the executive bodies, by the business circles and the society. I wish you every success in your work, and thank you for your attention. Thank you.